of you, and eventually we'll be watching towards parts of Leon County. This rotation's held together for a while. National Weather Service, again, just sent out another update to us. They're seeing some pretty decent what they call gate-to-gate rotation. That means we're one pixel next to the other when we're watching on the radar. And again, we're in areas where it's going to be a little hard to get good storm spotter verification with this, just due to the location of these storms. And again, this one here is hitting in a kind of an area where it's hard to see. We're seeing it high up with the radar, but you can see some areas of rotation here that are crossing I-45, heading towards Highway 84. So again, heading towards the Butler area there. Let's look at the rotation. The rotation definitely looks stronger on this storm. It looks like it's strengthening back up compared to what it looked earlier, because you can see still holding on to that right when it crossed. Looks like it's strengthened enough to produce a tornado there, crossing Highway 6, and probably strong rotation crossing that FM 46 that's there between Bremont and the Franklin area. Here's the Owensville community, so it's north of there, sliding across northern Robertson County of this area of Robertson County where this rotation is. So again, live in the kind of rural areas there south of Highway 7, north of Highway 79 in Robertson County. This is where we're watching the rotation with this storm. Marquay is going to be the next town that we'll be watching for the potential of this tornadic storm to make its way towards there. The hail threat is still there with this storm as well. Let's see, it pulsed up to at least $half size with this storm, but now it's more the golf ball to $half size right now east of the Bremont area. The storms that are trying to develop further west have got a small hail core, and the activity there in the Freestone County, probably more penny to nickel, possibly up to quarter-size hail with that activity. But again, radar still continuing to show some pretty decent rotation. The structure of this storm still has that supercell kind of comma shape look to it there, where that hail core would be sitting here, rotation, the updraft of this storm sitting right in here, and it's usually right in this area here that we're watching the potential of a tornado. Now, it doesn't have that kind of classic hook like it had earlier, and that just may be due to more moisture with this storm. So that also makes it hard for us to potentially see a tornado. And again, for storm spotters, they're going to have to stay on some of the major roads just due to making sure they're on safe roadways and not being on dirt roads, anything like that, that inhibits their ability to see what's going on. So again, this storm's got another 20 minutes that a warning's in effect. And again, we're going to be closely watching all this activity across Milam County. Nothing that's showing any rotation that's making it down to the ground like these other storms have shown a history of doing. That's why we have the tornado warning in effect for these two storms, but not for the activity that's down in Milam County. So again, both of these run until 4:15. Folks in Dew, the tornado threat's shifting east of you now. Fairfield not under the warning, so that's good. You're not worried about that town there. It's really the community of Butler now that we're watching. And again, right along Highway 84. We're talking east of I-45. So our viewers that are on I-35, it's not the I-35 corridor we're worried about as much as the I-45 corridor right now, where this rotation is likely shifting towards Highway 84. So just heard from the National Weather Service, and again, this is kind of outside of our area. Once you go one more county east into Anderson County, the plan is likely for the National Weather Service that keeps holding what it's holding, that a new warning will be issued for areas east of central Texas. But again, this current warning runs until 4:15 with this storm that, again, has been showing a rotation that is shifting east right now, east of Dew, kind of in this area here, right in between Dew and the Highway 84 area here is where east of I-45 is kind of where this particular rotation is. The rotation looking stronger with this storm that's sitting north of Franklin. So I know this is going over rural areas, but still, this is a storm that could have some big impacts, as this rotation is definitely holding on well. And again, as we kind of start looking down the line, we'll have to be watching Marquay. Again, this is the county line between Robertson and Leon County. So here's Highway 7 that runs from Cossie to Marquay. We're going to be watching. I think this will stay east of the Cossie area, but we're going to be watching this area here, and I think it should stay south of the Lake Limestone area, but that'll be another area we'll keep a close eye on with this storm. But right now, a Robertson County storm, but if this track continues, this rotation continues to hold on, this is a storm that could become a Leon County storm that we'll have to be watching over the next half hour to 45 minutes with this. So again, these are the two warnings that we're watching right now. Let me go back real quick. Just as I switched that, we were getting a new update. Still showing the same stuff. I'm going to show something here, and it's probably, no. was looking for potential debris, but typically that doesn't occur as much when we're out over more rural areas with not as many houses to hit and stuff like that. All right, so again, 2 warnings to tell you about. Both have about 15 minutes left on them. One is for the east and southeastern portions of Freestone County, south of Fairfield, mainly east of Dew now. I think east of I-45 towards Highway 84. That's where that tornado runs until 4:15. We have another one that's for the northern portions of Robertson County, north of Franklin, could eventually cross Highway 79. Again, right now, no one in Leon County under this warning, but if this storm continues to hold the track that it's holding, Marquez and eventually I-45 in Leon County could be of a concern with this storm as it continues to move towards the east and a little bit to the northeast. And then we've got other areas of thunderstorm activity that we're monitoring, but nothing that's shown anything tornadic with those storms. And again, right now, the strongest rotation we're seeing with either of these storms is this storm that's working across Robertson County right now. A pretty significant rotation going on. Now, the one in Freestone County, I think part of the reason we're not seeing it as well is it's just in an area where you can't see quite as good. And I'm going to go back to these real quick because I don't want to leave these unmonitored because we don't want anything to flare up. Again, we're not seeing in the reds and greens. That's a good sign there. We're not seeing anything that's showing any immediate signs of rotation with these storms. So we got a new word from the National Weather Service. So they're going to probably have to extend the time of this warning for parts of Freestone County just because it's not out of the county yet. But Anderson County, again, towards the Palestine area, this is going to be under a tornado warning shortly when the new warning comes out from the National Weather Service. So that'll be coming out here in a few minutes. Again, this is an area that we're watching for a storm that, again, has had a history of producing a tornado in Limestone County. We had a confirmed wall cloud. You can see this, depending on which radar you look at. Again, they're both hitting at slightly different heights, but this radar likely to be a little closer, still showing some pretty good gate-to-gate shear there. Now, it's likely a little elevated above the ground. We're not going to get a shot down at the ground. And the other thing is you move deeper and deeper into our eastern counties, and particularly east of I-45 in Freestone County, we're getting a lot more trees, we're getting a lot more hills, and it makes it extremely hard, no matter what time of the day, to get a good observation of a tornado. So if you live between Fairfield and Butler along Highway 84, you've got a potential tornado on top of you right now. And this is going to be shifting nearly due east, if not a little northeast. So we're worried that this could hit Butler just a little to the north. And then again, we'll be crossing the Trinity River, crossing the county line from Freestone County into the Anderson County area. And I think that new warning just got issued. Yeah, so this new warning runs until 5 o'clock. Again, we're really worried probably till about 4:30 or so for the Freestone, the eastern and northeasternmost parts of Freestone County. So it looks to stay north of Oakwood, which is right there on Highway 79. Again, the Butler community there on Highway 84 is kind of where that is now, and it's in the fringe northeastern parts of Freestone County. We typically don't follow these storms. Get towards Anderson County, the folks in Palestine don't pick us up on their television, so we'll shift TV markets as this activity crosses the county line. Again, that's storm number 1 we're watching. The other one, which is still had a pretty decent rotation inside of it, is a storm that is rolling its way right across parts of northern Robertson County. I'm going to put this in the loop here real quick and show you kind of the motion of this over the last hour or so. And again, it's moving pretty much due east. At first it was moving northeast, but now it is working east. So Marquez, it's going to get close to there. We're going to have a hailstorm and potential tornadic activity. It's going to cross Highway 79 very close to the Marquez area. It's going to stay north of the Hilltops Lakes. It's kind of covered up in the radar there, but there's Lake Limestone. So we've got a decent hailstorm rolling towards there. Tornadic threats likely to stay south of the Lake Limestone area, so that's good. But we've got likely a storm that, if it's producing a tornado, is very, very hard to see, just the way the structure of this. We've got a lot of rain wrapping on the southern side of this storm. So what we'd likely call a high precipitation supercell storm that's rolling its way across Robertson County, which this is the typical style of storms we see in the southeastern parts of central Texas with as much moisture that we have. So let's go back to the velocity. Yep, still showing a pretty decent rotation inside this storm. Again, this is sitting now southeast of Bremond. Bremond, you're in the clear from the tornadic activity. Still probably want to limit the outdoor time with more thunderstorms rolling through, but this is going to be rolling to the east-northeast. So we're going to be starting to watch from Marquez southeast. There's the new Baden area. I think it's going to stay north of there on Highway 79. But here's FM 979 that runs from Highway 7 right into the heart of where this rotation is. So again, this is going to be the areas we're watching. Here's FM 2096 that runs north from Highway 79 as well. So if I'm saying any farm to market roads for you in the Robertson County area that may ring a bell, these are the areas that we're watching with this storm. So still very strong circulation, but it hasn't tightened up quite enough that we're confirming any tornadoes on the ground. But it is in a very, very favorable environment. These are areas that haven't seen storms as much the last couple of days, so very warm, very juicy air that's in place that can feed these thunderstorms and help to cause rapid intensification, and that's why we're worried about this. Again, radar showing us there's decent rotation with this storm. Again, both looking at the velocity-wise and looking at the regular rain reflectivity, we've got a decent notch inside of this as well. We're in an area where it's very hard to see. We don't have any major roadways for our storm spotters or storm chasers to get set up. And another thing is we don't have probably as many storm chasers in central Texas right now just because of how many went up to the Central Plains to watch all the tornadic storms there the last couple of days. So there's not as many eyeballs of the people that like to run around and chase these storms down in our area right now. So again, if you're just tuning in, a couple different things we're watching. The main reason that we're interrupting programming on TV, and again, I apologize to the golf fans that we're interrupting. We want to stay with this with that tornadic threat. Part of our FCC being free over the air is we have the obligation to keep people safe during storms like this when it comes to life-threatening style potential storms. So we know we're interrupting sports and apologize for that, but it's what we're here to do is to keep people safe on stuff like this. So again, we've got the tornado warning for the eastern portions of Freestone County. It's getting close to crossing the county line into Anderson County, and then we'll hand that off to East Texas TV stations, Tyler and areas like that. But then we've got another significant storm that's rolling its way through parts of Robertson County right now, north of Franklin. No warnings in effect for Leon County as of now. Okay, just got word, yeah. So we're about to get this. We've been expecting that this would get extended into Leon County. So Marquez, you're not under a warning as of yet. If you have our free KWTX weather app, it's probably about to blurt at you and tell you that there is. One great thing, if you don't have our KWTX weather app and you're out and about, I'm here updating on TV and we're streaming and everything, but Jillian Johnson's in our weather office sending out push alerts to everybody in the path of these storms to give you regular updates of what are going on. So you're hearing me on TV, but our full team's keeping an eye on all this activity and trying to get out all the pertinent information across multiple ways so that we can make sure everyone's safe. But again, a new warning will be coming out for the eastern Robertson County and Leon County as the storm continues to move to the east-northeast. We'll come back to that one here in a second when the new warning comes out. Let's look at the rotation on this and see if what we can see here as we, still that rotation looks like it, let me go the other way. Looks like it's right, yeah, it doesn't, yeah, so that rotation now is north of the Highway 84, so it's passing through Butler right now. Again, if you're just tuning in, the reason I was moving is we're at an area where two radars are kind of hitting it from the same distance. You start getting these purples, that's just where the radar's having a hard time knowing which direction the winds are moving. But again, we've got a decent area of rotation that has just crossed Highway 84. Again, now still want to be in your safe, tornado safe area if you live in the Butler area. Again, crossing Highway 79, just about to work its way out of Freestone County. So that's good news. If you live along I-45, you've been tuning in, trying to make sure you're keeping safe. The threat for tornadic activity has moved out of your area, but we still have very heavy rain that's working its way across parts of Freestone County as well. The other storm we're watching right now is again in the northeastern parts of Robertson County. We will shortly be having a new warning come out because this current warning only runs for another 8 minutes. So this new one will be extended. That'll cover areas from Highway 79 eventually towards Highway 7. So Marquez, we'll see if it goes all the way to I-45, but we'll be watching parts of northern Leon County for these potential storms. And again, we're still watching. You know, this one here has a notch and has rotation, but this one here has a notch, but it's not rotating as much. So that's good news. But we've got eyeballs on that northern Milam County activity as well. Along the I-35 corridor, the flash flood warning from Bell County has expired. Still keep in mind, any rain that falls could aggravate quickly any flooding concerns. So the flash flood threat has gone down, but some of that more river flooding could still be a concern. Still flash flood warnings in effect for Falls and Limestone County due to heavy rain that's still ongoing for parts of Highway 6, Highway 77 as well. And again, we're waiting word from the National Weather Service on the latest update for this tornado warning that's in effect for northeastern Robertson County. That warning, again, is going to be extended. They're probably drawing out the polygon, getting ready to send it out right now. The rotation with this storm still looks pretty significant. It's sitting right north of the Franklin area now, probably sitting northeast of Franklin. So again, it's coming close to Highway 7, Highway 79, and those meet up in Marquay. Again, Marquay, you're just about to get a warning come out for you that's being put together by the National Weather Service now. Don't wait for the warning. We know it's coming out. We know we're watching decent rotation. Go ahead and start making your plans what to do to keep yourself safe. Now, if you're not someone that's dealt with tornadic activity or maybe new to the area, something like that, when we start talking about your tornado safe precautions, we want you to get inside. So we don't want you outside looking at the storm. This is likely a tornadic storm that you're not going to be able to see just because of how the structure of the storm is. There is a lot of rain falling in and around the rotation inside of the storm. We want you to get inside, preferably your home. Now, if you live in a manufactured home, a trailer home, something like that, that's not the safest place to be. You're not anchored down as good. If you're in your car, try to find somewhere safe to be, not in your car. You think cars are heavy. They can get thrown and slung around very easily by tornadoes. So we want you inside your home, as far inside as you can be. We want to put as much between you and those potential windows that could shatter and cause issues, and any potential debris that could be slung around this storm. So what we tell people is the best place typically in most homes is your bathroom. That kind of sounds a little odd, but actually the best place to get is in your bathtub, just with all the pipes that are in the walls. Kind of reinforces the walls a little bit. Now, if you got a lot of glass, a big window, that may not work. A hallway or a closet. This is likely, as it looks now, not a huge tornado, but it is still a tornado. So we're talking even a weak tornado could be 70 to 80 to 100 mile per hour winds. We saw some of that just a couple days ago with what ended up being an EF2 tornado that touched down across parts of Hill County. All right, so we got the new warning, and as we told you, Marquay, you are in the bullseye this morning, and it does go all the way towards Centerville and Leona as well. As of the current track, I would say it's going to stay north of Leona. The reason they drew this a little more is just, again, these can sometimes turn as if the rotation tightens up inside of it. So let's get the very latest on what the National Weather Service, again, runs until 5:15. Thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located near the Twin Oak Reservoir, or about 20 miles north of Hearn, moving east at 30. So earlier reports from the Weather Service had this on an east-northeast. So now this is turning nearly due east. So now we're going to be starting to talk about, again, Marquay and eventually potentially Centerville with this storm. So that's something that we're watching with that. Again, radar indicating at least that this storm could produce a tornado. Again, this warning runs until 5:15. If it stayed on the current timing track, it would get to Centerville close to 5 o'clock. It's kind of the time frame that we're watching with this. So let's go back to the velocity with this and kind of see what we're noticing with this. And so it doesn't look, let me look again here. This is fun of diagnosing this on live TV is, let's go back a little bit here and kind of see. Yeah, the rotation doesn't look as good the last scan, but the rotation of the storm sitting, again, just north of Highway 79, working towards Marquay. It's going to go near or just south of the Marquay area, and then eventually shift east and run right near Highway 7 or just south of that. So here, near and north of the Hilltops Lakes area. The Marquay area is kind of what we're watching. It's going to be south of the Lake Limestone area where the tornadic threat is, but we've still got the hail core that we're watching with this storm as well, and that is likely going to go right near or just south of the Lake Limestone area. Let's look at the past hour, kind of what this hail core has been doing. And again, you can see it really dumped some large hail near and west of Bremond, but you can see kind of little pockets here. What that's showing is the storm's trying to strengthen up and weaken, strengthen up and weaken, so it dumps some of that hail. That's the same thing we're seeing with the rotation. It'll tighten up and then relax a little bit, tighten up and relax a little bit. So that's that storm kind of cycling and trying to keep alive and trying to keep the rotation going and the updraft in this thunderstorm going as well. And you can tell it doesn't have quite that picture perfect kind of supercell look, but it still has a decent notch inside this storm. And you see how it nearly a hole right there. So that's the updraft, the air shooting up inside the thunderstorm, but we're getting rain, kind of a curtain of rain wrapping completely around there. So this is now a storm that we will likely not get unless we're just lucky to have a storm spotter somewhere in the exact right location. We're probably not going to get any ground truth on this storm. You're just going to have to trust the technology that the radar can see the rotation. And again, just take it safe with this storm. It's better to be somewhere safe, ride out the storm, than try to be somewhere out and thinking there's not a tornado and one you never even see spins up and goes. So again, northern side of this storm, could see a $50 size hail. Get close to Highway 79 and north of there. So the rotations between Highway 7 and Highway 79, and again, that rotation there could be producing a tornado. So still kind of got that little notch there. And again, it's kind of in this area here where there's just pouring rain, where the best of that rotation is with that storm. Let's give another check on this storm up in Freestone County. I think the bulk of all this is now out of our area and moving into Anderson County. So yeah, they're still a pretty decent rotation right north of Butler, and pretty significant. Now again, we're still hitting a little high on this storm, but still pretty stout rotation right on the Trinity River there, and this is going to move east. So again, slightly out of our area, but near and north of Palestine is where this rotation is going to be working out of central Texas and towards the Anderson County area is where that rotation. This is going to be another one that I don't think anyone's going to be able to see due to all the moisture that's in place. Heavy rain and a good bit of lightning still occurring with storms across parts of northern Milam County, southern Falls County. You can see just all the lightning ongoing. Typically with these storms that produce hail, the extra ice from all this hail causes a lot of electricity production inside these storms. I'm going to look at the rotation again real quick. We have not seen anything that's really screaming at us. There's some broad rotation trying going on, but nothing that is tornadic. So that's good news in the Milam County storm there. Again, that's kind of south and east of Rosebud that we're watching north and northeast of Cameron. The main storm we're focusing on right now is a storm that's in Robertson County. Again, the northeastern portions of Robertson County, near and north of Franklin. So Franklin, you're no longer under a warning. Bremont, you're under this official one that runs for another couple of minutes. So it's about to be dropped off. And then now the new concerns are from the northeastern parts of Robertson County and a good portion of Leon County, north of Hilltop Lakes. The Marquez area is an area we're watching very closely. You can see that one warning has been officially dropped. So again, it's really going to be, it's all going to come down to if the storm moves due east or a little east-northeast. So it's going to run near and just south of Highway 7. So Marquez, you're kind of right in the bullseye of either the hail core of this storm or the rotation of the storm is going to work through there. So either way, we've got a pretty strong storm rolling its way down Highway 7. Jewett, you're under this warning, but I think this is going to stay mainly south. You're still going to have a decent thunderstorm move through. And then folks in Centerville, that's kind of off the edge there. Again, we're talking another 35 to 40 minutes before the storm could be making its way towards you. But again, you're under this warning, as is Leona as well. So we want everybody on the I-45 corridor. The good news is you've had plenty of lead time knowing that a potential tornado could be heading your way as well. So the latest word from the National Weather Service is that, yeah, we're seeing the one rotation cross Freestone County into Anderson County, so moving out of central Texas. Still some decent rotation with this storm right now. This is kind of in the more, has a decent possibility to produce a tornado. Again, not quite as strong as the rotation was with this storm earlier, so we're seeing that decrease some. That's good news. Let us give us another scan if we're starting to say, hey, it's unlikely. We'll try to adjust some of our coverages going on. But again, right now, still a pretty decent thunderstorm that has the potential of producing a tornado right near and southeast of the Marquez area. So again, if you live in Marquez, that's right on that intersection of Highway 6 and Highway 79. There in the western and northwestern parts of Leon County. We've got a strong rotation, or a decent rotation. It's weakened a little bit, but still has the capability of producing a potential tornado with that storm. And again, you can see some of that rotation with the storm sitting here just off to the west and kind of southwest of Marquez. So this rotation is going to cross Highway 79 very close to the Highway 7 area there as it continues to move into Leon County. And then we'll be watching it work its way eventually close to the Centerville area as this rotation continues to move. So you can kind of see again, we had that little flare up that the radar had. Again, it's not quite as strong, so that's good news, but still broad rotation that's going on with that storm. And again, the other rotation is working out of Freestone County right now. So unless you live right along the Trinity River there in eastern Freestone County, you're in the clear in Freestone County now. Now this is becoming an Anderson County storm when it comes to that tornado threat that's crossing the county line. Again, Palestine and areas like that under that warning that runs until 5 o'clock. So the one tornadic warning we're really worried about right now is this storm that's in eastern Robertson County and heading into Leon County. The other areas we're watching is just the heavy rain concern. Again, Limestone and Falls County under flash flood warnings. Likely some flash flooding ongoing as well up in Freestone County as well. This is just due to multiple waves of rain and more rain kind of being added to those rainfall totals. But again, the real area we're concerned with right now is this area that's right near or just southwest of Marquay. So kind of right in this area here. And again, this product is going to be a little bit delayed. And one thing that we've really want to point out to people, if you're watching on a streaming source, whether on our connected TV or if you have Hulu or a YouTube TV or something like that, or on our website or on our app, with it being streaming, there's a couple minute delay on data getting to you. So don't pinpoint the exact location. Expect it to be further to the east than what we're actually seeing live right now. So this rotation is getting close to Highway 7, getting close to Highway 79, right there near and just to the southwest of the Marquay area. So the Thornton area, again, some of these county roads here that we're looking at, County Road 434 is one that it's going to get close to. But again, this is going to be working its way, pretty much crossing FM 797 right now and working its way in the direction of the Marquay area. So a decent rotation that could be producing a tornado, or at least the possibility of producing a tornado is going to be there. So we've got storm spotter that's just getting a position south of Marquay, so we should be able to get a good view, or a better view from a good storm spotter that's down in that area. So we'll pass along that information. That'll help us know kind of what's going on with this. But again, in the Marquay area, we need you to be prepared. We need you to be in your tornado safe shelter right now, safe area of home. Wait out this storm that's working to the east, northeast. That's going to pass right near or just to the south of Marquay. Again, kind of show you the hail track of the storm. It's come down a little bit. Let's show you what the latest estimate is. Again, still showing, I think it's right near quarter size that it's showing there. Yeah, so right at quarter at times. It's been, the highest we've seen is upwards of golf ball size hail that this storm showed. Right now, more of the quarter at times, $half size hail, and that's in where that dark kind of gets that purplish shade there. So that's right near and just along and south of Highway 7 between the Marquay area and Cossie is where that hail core is crossing right now. And again, it's just south of there where you see that little bit of a void there in the radar. That's where the updraft is, so it's likely right in this area where we're going to see that potential tornadic activity that's developing right now, that strong rotation that we've been seeing with this storm. So let's go back to the rotation here and kind of, again, show you a little bit of the track of this and where it's been moving. Again, the good news is it's not quite as strong. Again, we had a storm spotter, this is back at 3:30 roughly, that saw a tornado cross Highway 6 about 6 miles south of Bremond, and that rotation stayed pretty strong there north of Franklin as it rolled across Robertson County. Again, still a broad rotation. Now it's also getting gradually further and further away from the radar, so the radar is going to hit it a little bit higher and a little bit higher in the storm. So a broad rotation in the mid-level still could be producing a significant rotation down low, but just unfortunately with distance of radars and the curvature of the earth, we get to where we'll start hitting these clouds a little bit higher as they continue to move further away. But still, again, a decent rotation with this storm. We're also watching decent hail core that could produce in quarter to $half size hail. Other thunderstorm activity, and luckily this activity has not become tornadic at all. I'll throw on just so I can see what it's showing. But yeah, nothing that's showing anything that's kind of screaming at us. Again, you can see in this area here, that's that rotation we've been watching with this storm, but nothing that's showing any high winds, or at least winds going in opposite directions that would give us any concern. So again, this current warning runs until 5:15. Again, running across Leon County. The storm is pretty much the heavy rains already on top of Marquay. The hail core will start to work its way in. And again, we're watching this area here that's got the rotation with this storm that's going to be crossing Highway 79. So it's either going to hit right at Marquay or just a little bit south of Marquay, the way it looks right now with this storm. So again, an area that we're watching closely and kind of waiting for new radar updates to kind of give us a better view of what's going on. But again, you can see the reds and the greens right here. So that's that rotation inside the storm that's rolling its way to the east. So again, right near or within a couple miles south of the Marquay area. So Hilltop Lakes, that's going to stay north of you. Let's go again, kind of show you the area that's officially under this warning. Now, parts of Robertson County that are still under this warning. So north of Franklin, east, that area we're clear now for the tornadic threat. Right near the river, there's the Navasota River. There's still rotation I'd be careful with, but if you live near and just north of Franklin, you're clear. You still got good thunderstorm activity, but the tornadic concern is now moving its way more towards the east. Again, right close to Highway 79 and very close to the town of Marquay right now. And again, we're waiting on a storm spotter to let us know what they're seeing. They've just got repositioned there south of the Marquay area and should be able to give us All right, so they've seen a wall cloud, so that's kind of matching up with the rotation that we're seeing and with the radar. They said they're not seeing that it's trying to cycle some. They're seeing a wall cloud. They don't see any funnel cloud. They don't see any violent rotation with this, so that's good news as well. But anytime we have a wall cloud, we're just one little spin from this storm producing a tornado very, very rapidly. So again, that's why we're saying if you live in and around the Marquez area right now, you need to be in a tornado safe area just in case this storm does spin up. We've got the trained storm spotters out there. They know what to look at. They have emergency management they're communicating with, the weather service they're communicating with, so they've got a little safer ability to watch this storm. But again, from where our storm spotters are watching, again, seeing a wall cloud with this storm. So it means a lowering in this that's producing a little stronger rotation inside the storm. And this rotation right now is shifting right towards Highway 79 near and south of the Marquez area. So there's ridge that's on Highway 79. So it's going to be just north of there and likely going to be near and just to the south of the Marquez area. Give you a real quick kind of wide view again. I know we're focusing on one kind of small area of our viewing area, but kind of give an update to everybody what's going on. So again, a tornado watch is in effect for the eastern parts of central Texas. The main concerns we've had with storms today is the hail concern and the gusty winds, but the tornado watch was issued due to this stray potential of a few tornadic storms. Earlier this morning we had a tornado warning for Falls County, and now we've had a couple tornado warnings this afternoon that have covered parts of Falls, Limestone, Freestone, parts of Milam, Robertson, and now into Leon County. So right in that area where that tornado watch is occurring. Now, right now, we're not expecting anything along I-35, anything of concern, particularly the further west you go. The atmosphere is very stable. In and around Waco, Temple, Killeen, there's probably going to be some little spotty showers here for the next couple of hours, stray thunderstorm. You can see some decent rain falling in and around the Belton and Temple area. Also keep in mind, if you live particularly in Bell County, a flash flood warning was just allowed to expire 25 minutes ago, so any extra brief heavy rain could aggravate any flooding concerns across Bell County, and there would be that lightning concern as well, and those scattered showers working up the I-35 corridor. Flash flood warnings in effect for most of Falls and Limestone County, particularly south of Highway 84 in Limestone County, and then we've got this tornadic activity, which can't even see because of all the lightning ongoing with it, but a storm that has had a history of producing a tornado. As of last report from a trained storm spotter, a wall cloud observed with this storm. And again, this rotation is pretty much right on top of or right near Marquez. So I want to say the area we're most concerned is right here. So, I mean, just to show you how close we're getting. So from the center of that rotation to Marquez, we're talking 5 miles or less, probably just also due to the time difference. So within 5 miles of the city of Marquez, there's a pretty decent rotation. Again, the storm spotters have said has a wall cloud ongoing with it, and it's going to cross just near and south of Highway 7 and right along Highway 79. So if you live in the Marquez area, again, you need to be taking your tornado safe precautions right now. Again, this rotation there's a whole bunch of little county roads and stuff like that. I don't want to get too entrenched on that, but again, this is going to be rolling right towards and near and just to the south of Marquez is where the strongest of this rotation is right now. And again, this is going to be a storm that's going to be hard to see a whole lot. Again, the Weather Service getting other reports that said an impressive wall cloud, but nothing that is getting too organized at this time. So again, a storm that is kind of probably in the process of re-strengthening, but again, a storm that is right now not producing a tornado, but does have the potential to produce a tornado with this storm as it continues to move towards the east. Again, right near and around the Marquez area is where this rotation is. So again, a tornado warning for a storm that has the potential, has rotation inside of it, and the potential to produce a tornado as it moves in and around the Marquez area, shifting towards the east, towards Highway 79. It's very close to crossing Highway 79, very near the Highway 7 area there is where this storm is moving right now. And again, we'll get a new update on the rotation here within the next minute or two probably, and that should be shifting it more towards Highway 79, very close towards Marquez. And again, from what we've heard from several reports, is that an impressive wall cloud, meaning a rather big wall cloud with this, and that's again a sign of a rotation ongoing inside this storm. But at least from a few views from storm spotters, nothing that's showing anything down in the ground. And again, this is kind of what makes it hard though, is we're getting this rotation in here where there's heavy rain falling likely all in and around here. So it's in a part of the thunderstorm that's going to be getting harder and harder to see what's going on. There's also hail concerns that we're watching with this storm that's going to move right near and just north of where that rotation is ongoing. So even if we don't end up with a tornado in Marquez, we're going to have a decent hailstorm that's going to roll through with this storm as well. And again, a tornado warning is in effect for this storm as it rolls its way into Leon County. We did get some reports of just getting some new reports in that flash flooding that's been in Limestone County of some vehicles stranded due to some high water up and around the Groesbeck area. A lot of times it's that underpass that's very flood prone in Groesbeck. So that's one that is typically when we have heavy rain, that's the first place that it usually has some issues. Again, checking out here, you kind of see where these little holes look to show up here. That's where some broad rotations going on in the thunderstorm. But you can see the difference between that and this activity that's near Marquez. You get the matching reds and greens there. So we have a pretty decent rotation continuing with this. And again, a storm that in any time here in the next minute or two, or a couple minutes, could easily produce a tornado. So that's why we're staying with you here. We want these folks in Marquez to be very careful. We want you inside. We want you being prepared for a potential tornado, because a lot of times we might not know it's on the ground until after the fact. So again, we have storm spotters attempting the best to see, but we're also getting into areas where it's going to be a little harder to make good ground truth of what's going on. But again, a very decent rotation right near the town of Marquez. So this rotation's continuing to get closer to it. Right now, probably getting very close to Highway 79. And again, that's at that intersection of Highway 7 as well. And again, to get a kind of wider view, this tornado warning runs until 5:15. So we still have another 45 minutes that this warning runs. And again, it's really for areas from Marquez to Centerville to potentially Leona. It's going to depend on if this rotation moves more due east, then we'd be worried about Centerville. It would have to turn some to the southeast. So Leona, you're kind of on the edge of this. I wouldn't go, you don't have to go crazy yet. You still got a while. And again, I think the worst of this rotation is probably going to go north of there. But again, the rotation right now sitting right on top of Marquez, right on the Highway 7, Highway 79 intersection there. And this is moving to the east. Now, structurally, it doesn't look quite as good. And again, this rotation is really about to, if not right now, moving over the town of Marquez as what we're watching with this, and pretty much have seen a consistent rotation and getting to where we're nearly to what we call that gate-to-gate rotation, where we get some of these bright reds and the bright greens right next to each other. And again, this is a couple minutes delayed, so it's likely right near or right over Marquez right now. So we don't want you in Marquez to go outside looking at the storm. We want you to stay inside. We want you to stay somewhere safe. Let this rotation pass by. Again, we've got trained storm spotters out keeping an eye on this right now, saying that they've seen a very decent wall cloud with this storm as it's continuing to move towards the east. And again, right now, very close to the town of Marquez, where this storm rotation is working. And again, crossing Highway 7, about to cross Highway 79, in and around this community right now. But yeah, so hearing some reports too that they have out in Limestone County, now that the tornado threat's going down, some potentially are there now off to the east and the south. They have seen some two transformers that were struck, some power outages due to some of the rotation there. So that's another kind of a ground truth. That's the rotation that is now over in Anderson County towards Palestine. And unfortunately, that rotation has come down some. But the main one here for Central Texas is in our kind of southeasternmost county, in the Leon County area that we're watching closely with this storm. And again, still a very, very decent rotation. I'm going to switch to a couple different things here to show. But again, you can see those, what we call gate-to-gate shear. There is a definite rotation inside of this storm that, again, is working its way right towards the town of Marquez right now. So, again, that's where the intersection of Highway 79 and Highway 77. So after that, we'll be worried about the community of Concord, and then eventually could be right near the town of Centerville as the storm works its way towards the I-45 corridor and continues to move east at about 20 to 25 miles per hour, I believe is the latest track we had on this. Let me get the latest information for sure on this. So yeah, tracking to the east at roughly 30 miles per hour is the latest that we've picked up on the radar with this storm. So again, this warning runs until 5:15, so it's 4:32 right now. So we've still got another nearly 45 minutes that the storm is going to track east. More thunderstorm activity back behind this activity. You can see all the lightning ongoing Bremont likely getting some potential flooding ongoing with these secondary waves of rain that have moved through. We don't keep the lightning on there just because it keeps it where we can't see real well. I do want to look at the, good news is like we were watching this little kind of notch right there, but we're not seeing, we see the notch, but we're not seeing anything that's showing any actual rotation. Sometimes radar can make stuff look scarier than it actually is, but we've been watching that area for a while, and it hasn't shown any consistent signs of any rotation. Again, the area we're watching right now is right on top of Marquette. Now, something we see a lot is these storms push more east and southeast. If you live in central Texas, you know the farther east and southeast, the closer you get to the Gulf, the muggier the air is going to get, and that these become very, what we call high precipitation supercells, meaning it's raining a ton, it's likely wrapping around the potential tornado, and that's where it gets harder and harder to see. So that's why we're here really trying to get this information out, even though we do not have confirmed truth of on the ground that a tornado is ongoing. We've got some dedicated storm spotters trying their best to get good visualization of this. But the latest we've heard from many of them is, again, wall cloud has been observed. So that is kind of the building block for the next step of a funnel cloud or tornado ongoing. But that's what's ongoing now. But again, this rotation is right on top of Marquette. We'll probably get our next scan from the radar, and it's going to show it's sitting right on top of the town of Marquette right now. So again, that's the area we're worried about. But again, if you look at where the rotation is, it's in an area where there's a whole bunch of heavy rain falling right now. Typically, if it's further out where you get where it's not as much, our storm spotters can set up well to see. But right now, this is probably a rain-wrapped storm that nobody's going to see a tornado until after the fact that we see potential damage. So hopefully that's not the case, but that's also why we're here keeping an eye on this. Of what's going on. I just had somebody, Mary said, somebody get me a fan and some water. Yeah, it's warm in here, but I'm perfectly fine. I'll be good. I got some water here. So again, let's see if we got the new update. Yep, that's right at. So actually, this is shifting maybe a little further north, but again, we've got pretty much, I would say, right on top of Marquette is where this rotation is currently. Let me see. Click it. I want to look at it another way here. Yeah, so depending on which product, kind of how we look at it, the radar has a way to try to take into account the movement of the storm into calculating what the winds look like. So that's why you get some of these different views. Not worth me explaining too much, but it kind of helps us. So again, this is sitting, it's actually may have jumped a little north, but again, rotation in right around the Marquette area. So again, if you still live in Marquette, we've said this probably 5 or 6 times at least, you need to be inside your tornado safe area. We've got significant rotation that is rolling right along Highway 7 right now, crossing over Highway 79. So again, very significant rotation with this storm, and kind of on the wider view, again, right across the Marquette area. So right now moving kind of east, northeast, and going to go right along Highway 7. So then we're going to start watching farther east. Again, folks in Centerville, you've still got probably at least another 20, maybe 30 minutes, but we want you to already start getting those conversations. What would we do if this storm continues to head towards us? Where's everybody at? Is everyone at home? Make sure people that are at work know what's going on. People that may not be paying attention to the weather, we want you to know that a significant storm that's got very strong rotation inside of it is working right near the town of Marquette and is moving towards the east at about 30 miles per hour, and it's going to work right down Highway 7 and eventually working right towards the I-45 corridor. So that's what we're watching with this storm. And to kind of show you so we're getting both words from the National Weather Service, kind of where we're at. This storm and the one up out of our area. I'm going to go show you the Anderson County storm. They said that one is significantly increasing as well. You can see the reds and the greens up there. Both these storms have started to increase pretty significantly in the last few scans. So if folks at home are saying, well, why you got interrupting if you know there's not a tornado on the ground? Earlier when we told you all we had is a wall cloud, this is part of the reason why. Kind of twofold. One, storms don't stay the same all the time. They'll strengthen, they'll decrease. They could run into an area that hasn't seen rain or happen to run into a little boundary and spin up real quickly. The other thing is even if we can't see it, doesn't mean that it's not ongoing right now. It's not a guarantee that this thing isn't wrapped up in rain and not a single person can see it. So we're here to try to get this information out on all the different platforms we have to try to let people know that a very dangerous storm that could be producing a tornado as we speak right in and around the town of Marquette is working to the east, crossing Highway 79, right along Highway 7. So again, the community of the town of Marquette, you are right in the kind of the crosshairs of this, And then we're going to be talking about areas east along Highway 7. So here's FM 1149 again in Leon County, the community of Concord. This is FM 39 that crosses Highway 79. So these are roadways that we're going to be talking about this rotation moving across as this activity continues to move towards the east. So again, we've seen you kind of see where it goes, you don't see as much the red and the green. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it goes. So this is where that wall cloud, again, was a sign, and the storm spotter said an impressive wall cloud. So a pretty significant wall cloud. That's a sign that the rotation was trying to strengthen and could possibly be producing a tornado as we speak right in and around the town of Marquay with this storm. And again, a likely one that our poor storm spotters are, they're not going to be able to see real well just because where this rotation is. I mean, this rotation's right here. It's also just pouring down rain in there as well. Typically, with our storms, you'll have the updraft, you'll have the downdraft. That tornado's right near both of those. But again, the downdraft is, and the rain is kind of overtaking a lot of the moisture, is completely wrapping around the updraft and the rotation inside of this storm. Hail core, fortunately, hasn't been as impressive the last few scans, so probably quarter size or less with that. So that's good news. But again, heavy rain, frequent cloud to ground lightning, a very significant rotation is working right through the Marquay area as we speak with this storm. And to give the very latest what the National Weather Service, got an update that came from them about 3 minutes ago. This is the one that moved. So they canceled for, that was where they canceled Freestone County. Never mind. So they officially, a few minutes ago, canceled the Freestone County tornado warning. So we shifted off of that one because we knew the rotation was out of Freestone County earlier than what the National Weather Service officially dropped it. But again, right now, same story here. So Robertson County, you still have the warning, tornado warning in effect for your area. This storm has crossed now into Leon County. This rotation is sitting right on top of Marquay. So again, tornado warning for the northeastern portions of Robertson County. The threat is now into Leon County. So it's really over Marquay as we speak and going to be moving east and could potentially move towards the Centerville area. That'll be the next significant town that we're going to be watching as the storm continues to move east at about 30 miles per hour and continues to keep that threat pretty significant with this storm. And again, a rotation that is in an area where it's going to be extremely, extremely hard to see anything with this storm, just because there's a significant amount of rain falling with this. But this is where the radar technology is very helpful because, again, I'm going to switch between a couple different views here. But again, the most extreme rotation that we've seen all day from any of these. To kind of put it in perspective, we have had confirmed, we have had at least 2 to 3 observed tornadoes with these storms. And again, last report was a very impressive wall cloud, but these are the brightest greens and reds near each other on this reflectivity that or the velocity scan here that we've seen all day. So the likelihood of a tornado is continuing to increase, and again, right and around the Marquay area. I'd say if you live in Marquay or anywhere probably 5 miles any direction from Marquay, you really have to be in your tornado safe area right now because a very dangerous storm is rolling right through that area as we speak. And continuing to say the report that that a tornado could be on the ground. So we just heard on the chat that another TV station in town, a viewer called them saying that a tornado was on the ground. The one nice thing when we have events like this going on, all the TV stations, along with all the emergency management, all the National Weather Service work together. We compete against each other, but not on events like this. We want all the information to get out there. So again, we've had a viewer report come in of a potential tornado. We appreciate any phone calls or emails or anything like that. We don't want you to go outside, though. We have trained storm spotters. We have people that have been around storms like this, know where to go, what to do. We don't want just everybody to try to get outside and view this storm. Odds are you're probably not going to see it just because all the rain that's going on, and if there's any debris going around, we don't want you there outside with that either. Okay, yeah. I was just looking to see if we were picking up any debris, and nothing that's screaming at us that there is. So we've got a storm that potentially has a rain-wrapped tornado ongoing right now in the Marquay area. At least we don't have it confirmed, but we've at least got some reports of a potential tornado that's ongoing with this storm right now. And again, we've got very significant rotation that's ongoing right now. This thing actually is taking more of a jog north. So this may end up being good news for the folks in Centerville, at least the latest few scans. But this rotation is sitting right near, just kind of looks like it just moved right through Marquez and maybe starting to shift more to the northeast. So near and east northeast of the Marquez area is where this significant rotation is right now. And then we do, okay, so we just got a report from people in Centerville. It'd be a little far. We got reports of a tornado down, but then lifted. So we're getting some of these differing reports here of what's going on. But at least a couple different reports that we've had a tornado that's occurred in and around the Marquez area, and it kind of agrees with when this rotation really strengthened. Because again, like I'll show you the last hour, you see it was significant there, but it wasn't balanced there. We had strong winds on one side of the system, but not both. And you see how it was real broad. But see how quickly, boom, that storm tightened up. So that was likely when we went from wall cloud to tornado right there. That's kind of showing how quickly these systems can evolve. We're also getting a little rotation down here south of the Concord area. We'll keep an eye on that. But the area we're really watching, again, is with this area right around the Marquez area. This could be a little, what we call little outflow winds. It could be trying to spin stuff up. But we'll watch that closely. But again, we've got some storm spotters watching kind of near and west of the Centerville area of this. We've had others that were south of Marquez keeping an eye on this as well. But again, we've had several reports coming in of a tornado that's formed in and around the Marquez area. And again, this activity is moving to the east, kind of northeast right now. Rotation is pretty much right on top of Marquez. So again, if you live anywhere around Marquez, we need you in continue to be vigilant and wait till this system passes you by. Anywhere from Centerville westward towards Marquez, now's the time you need to start taking your tornado precautions. We need you to go ahead and start getting into that interior room of your home. If you live in an apartment that's upstairs, all right, here's two things in Centerville that I need you to do right now. If you live in an upstairs apartment, or if you live in a mobile home or a travel trailer or a manufactured home, go ahead and start finding somewhere else to go to, because those are not safe places to be. Am I guaranteeing there's going to be a tornado go to Centerville? No, but be much more easier on you to know you're safe going somewhere that's more structurally sound. We want you to be, again, into a well-built, sturdy building, away from windows, as far inside as you can get. That's what we want to try to protect you from what is a likely tornado that's touched down, a storm that's had a history of producing tornadoes. Now, what these storm systems typically do, they strengthen and then they'll weaken up a little bit. They'll strengthen and they'll weaken up a little bit. So these aren't going to be likely these long track, 20-mile on the ground kind of tornadoes, but it's producing tornadoes, and the system kind of has to recover from it, and then it'll try to produce another tornado as well. And that's kind of the history that we've seen with this. But the rotation is still pretty significant. Right now, it's probably moving through the eastern side of Marquez. Again, this is going to be slightly delayed just because of the way radars work. But this rotation is sitting right near and on the probably eastern side of Marquez right now. So if you live in Marquez, it's not clear yet to get out. I want you to continue, stay in that tornado safe shelter area. Concord, that's another area, community. Again, FM 1147. Here's County Road 348. Again, this is taking a little bit of a jog to the north. But again, these rotations can kind of fluctuate some as the rotation strengthens up and weakens some. But typically when they strengthen back up, they'll take another turn back to the right. So anywhere in and around, I would say 5 miles either side of Highway 7 in Leon County, you are in that kind of pathway that we're worried about potential tornadic activity that's going on with it. And to kind of, let me get the timing on this. So I'm going to say in the next, so let's say the rotation's right here and moving kind of on an easterly direction. We say roughly 30 miles per hour. So Concord, so we're here right now is 446. So we're talking 454, Robbins Community, 456, Centerville, a little at or a little after 5 o'clock. It's kind of the timing. If this kind of where this rotation's been working. Again, it could go a little more north or south, but this kind of gives you a rough estimate of the times we're watching with this. So what we're getting the latest is the Leon County circulation now northeast of Marquez. So that's kind of where we're showing you here right now. Click the wrong button. So again, that rotation's there. We got to, now this is another one. So we've been talking east northeast. We haven't talked much about you yet, but this rotation could be heading your way. Good thing is it did weaken a little bit here. I want to get a different view here. So looks like that rotations come down some, so that's good news. Kind of the area we're still watching would be right kind of in here. So that's kind of where the rotation, again, it did come down a little bit. Again, the last report we had, they're saying they're not seeing a tornado on the ground as of now. But then again, we're getting these reports that are coming back and forth just due to the fluctuation of this. So this is FM 39 that runs between Concord and area and Jewett. So again, this rotation is right in here. So Jewett, we haven't talked as much about you. I would be in your tornado safe area now. This tornadic activity may stay just south of you. I'd rather be safe than sorry, and make sure we're all kind of in those, being prepared for a storm that has kind of been wobbling a little bit. So from Jewett to Concord, that's area that could, and then again, FM 39 is the road that runs between Highway 7 and up towards near the Jewett area. So again, on that Highway 30 or FM 39 and Jewett southward towards Concord is kind of those areas that we want to be concerned about this rotation. Again, it has dropped off, but again, it's had a history of just flaring up real fast. That's the way a lot of times when we have these storms that are nearly completely rain wrapped up like this, is it's harder for the rotation to hold strong for real long. So the rain kind of pushes it down and then it'll try to revamp up. So again, we've had a couple different reports. We've had several reports of a strong wall cloud near Marquay before it moved into town. Several reports of a tornado that could have been on the ground in parts of Marquay. And then the latest report we're getting is that we're not seeing any significant rotation down towards the ground at where they're looking. Now, that's the other thing, too. The vantage point of these different storm spotters will give us a different view because they may be looking through a lot of rain, or they're near a hill or a lot of trees and a lot of different things that could restrict what the viewing ability is in some of these storms. But again, just looking at the radar data, the rotation is not looking as impressive as it did just 2 scans ago. So this rotation passed right through Marquay. So again, what you're seeing on the corner of your screen there, that's I-45 in Centerville. Again, we're in an area where it's hard to get a lot of eyeballs on. But again, a significant rotation has worked its way through Marquay. Folks in Marquay, the tornadic threat is starting to shift out of your area. Still want to be a little leery in getting outside just because you've got a pretty nasty thunderstorm still rolling through. But, just looking at the overall structure of this, it's not as impressive as it has been. But again, we're going to have to watch this rotation that's still showing, and again, given another scan or two. This is kind of the reason we don't jump off TV just when there's one scan that says, oh, it doesn't look that bad, because all that it takes is atmosphere to recharge real quick and that rotation spin back up. So again, a storm that has had kind of off and on broad rotation that has quickly tightened up, that has produced likely tornadoes at a few times, continues to track to the east, a little northeast on the last few scans as it crossed through Marquay, a little more northeast. So from Jewett down to the Concord community, and from Centerville northward along I-45. Areas in this warning area, you need to be taking this storm very carefully. I'm going to look here real quick at something. This is going to look like a whole bunch of just okay, so we're not seeing anything that shows any debris, so that's good news. That's kind of a tool we can help to see if we can see anything that may have got lofted up by, but with this much rain, it may be hard to see that with a radar as well. All right, so the rotational threat, again, not as strong as it looked just 3 to 5 minutes ago as it was moving through the Marquay area. So again, we're really watching the area, again, from Highway 79 is kind of the western side of this. Here's Highway 7, so I would say north of Highway 7, east of Highway 79, and then FM 39 that runs from Jewett down towards the Concord area. This is the area where you're right in the middle of this pretty stout thunderstorm that, again, has had a history of flaring up tornadic activity. So right now the rotation doesn't look quite as impressive as it did just 5 minutes ago, but there still is. You can still see some the reds and greens here. Again, we're looking at kind of different data that helps us to see kind of what's going on inside the thunderstorm. But again, it's right in an area. I mean, the rotation is right in here, but you can see heavy, heavy rain that's ongoing. So this is making it extremely difficult for any storm spotters that would be out in the area, one, trying to reposition and keep up with this storm, and two, trying to find a good vantage point to see what's going on with this storm as it's moving through as well. So not the easiest storm to spot with right now. Probably a lot of our observations are going to start coming more from the Concord to Centerville area, trying to look up into this storm. But again, kind of in this triangle here between 79, Jewett, FM 39 in the Concord area, and then from Marquay northeast, kind of in that area there is where this is, that significant rotation ongoing. Folks in the Jewett area, a decent little hail core could be right on top of you as we speak as well. Here's the latest estimate. Actually, it's got it a little farther. I would give this a little leeway either way, because this is the radar trying to derive kind of where it thinks it's going to be, but sometimes these can be a little off. But at least quarter-size hail in and around that. And that could have caused this rotation to come down as well. These thunderstorms will, when they're the strongest, when that rotation was the strongest, it can hold that hail core up longer, and that allows stronger, larger hail to form. But when that rotation weakens, it can dump a lot of that hail. And then once it dumps that hail, then it can start to re-strengthen because that hail's not kind of holding down on it. So that's something we'll be watching for closely as well. Just to kind of go back to the wider view of where we're at right now and kind of reset everything as we're getting close to the top of the hour, the 5 o'clock hour here. Again, a tornado watch is in effect for the eastern parts of Central Texas. This is not a Waco Temple Killeen westward event. This is eastern parts of Central Texas. In Central Texas, the KWTX viewing area is a very east-west. You're pretty much talking 100 miles either way from I-35 that we cover. So we can get storms that are a long ways west of Waco Temple Killeen or a long ways east of Waco Temple Killeen that we're having to keep an eye on. But this watch does not include the I-35 corridor, and the threat will continue as these storms move east. Will move out of our area within the probably next couple of hours. So yes, it runs till 9 o'clock, but this is going to be more of an East Texas evening event that we will be watching. Give you kind of a wide view of the radar and show you what everything's looking like. We've had some scattered showers in and around I-35, but nothing severe, and some decent little thunderstorm activity continuing in and around the Temple area. Really just the heavy rain and that flooding concern. So as you go on the north side of Temple up towards Troy, a decent little thunderstorm there, some more moderate to heavier rain pushing near and east of I-35 there in the Belton area. And again, some of this is going to go over areas that have had flooding concerns. We had a flash flood warning earlier for the Bell County area that's been allowed to expire. Flash flood warnings do continue for Falls, Limestone, and Freestone County. So remember, turn around, don't drown. A very easy slogan that'll keep you from, don't drive across roadways where there's water covering them. And then the major story that we're watching right now is the tornadic activity that has been ongoing across some of our southeastern counties. Very, very interesting of note. So 1 year ago, we had this same setup in different areas of Central Texas where we had severe weather, a day off, and severe weather, and it was April 26th and April 28th on the exact same 2 days, 1 year apart. But so the National Weather Service still has a tornado warning in effect for the Palestine area. Again, that's outside of our area. We're still concerned about this storm that is sitting near and kind of northeast of Marquay. The video you see there on the bottom of your screen, that's a TxDOT camera in the Centerville area. You can see all the trees. That's one thing that gets very, very interesting for storm spotters in this part of our viewing area. Is it's very, very hard with all the trees around to get a real good view of it. The rotation definitely does not look as impressive as it did a few minutes ago. Hopefully that'll be a trend, but this thing did flare up massively right as it entered Marquay, which is not exactly what you want to see, but I'm hoping the folks in Marquay, you took the storm seriously. Good news for Marquay is you can get out of your tornado safe area right now. You still got some decent rain, maybe some small hail. Another little area of thunderstorm activity is going to work through, but we don't have anything that's saying, again, just looking at the velocities real quick on all this, nothing that's saying tornadic activity is ongoing with any of that. So that's definitely good news with the storm. So let's communicate with my group real quick. So again, tornado warning, the one for the Marquay area there in Leon County that runs until 5:15. So that's what we're watching with that. Let's look at the hail core on this again real quick and kind of see. Still showing a decent quarter size or so larger hail in and around the kind of now moving more up to the Jewett area. So part of the storm. So we'll watch, see how, if that continues to grow, that could be another sign that this storm's trying to regain some of its strength. But again, the rotation is not as impressive, kind of a broad area. Again, kind of right in this area. It's going to pass near and just to the southeast of Jewett. So again, it was sitting southwest of Marquay, worked right across Marquay, now starting to cross north of Highway 7. So that may be good for Centerville, but again, I don't want the folks in Centerville, I don't want you to completely disregard this. One, yes, it's weakened slightly, but two, it's had a history of strengthening back up and strengthened up significantly over the Marquay area. So folks in Jewett and Centerville and anywhere in between these two towns, you need to be prepared for this rotation area here. We're going to be watching this area over the next couple scans to see how much it can strengthen, how much stronger it can get as it continues to push towards the east and northeast. So let's see. Did get some hail in Jewett, quarter-size hail getting reported with that. We have not seen anything of any ground truth from anyone in and around the Marquay area of any confirmed tornadic activity with that. So again, I got some pretty decent winds. We got some hail that's being reported with this storm up to quarter size, and that's getting verified on the radar data as well. And again, a storm that hopefully it's worked itself out. We'll know again here in the next few minutes if these scans continue to come back that there's not as much rotation with this. But again, this is a storm that's had a history of strengthening, weakening, strengthening back up, and kind of give you a kind of show that we can go just over the last hour on the hail with this, and you can kind of see where, again, it's running right through that track there, and again, where it's kind of strengthened and kind of fell back apart. But again, kind of the path that storm has worked on as it's been moving up to the northeast. So yeah, the Weather Service continuing to see that as well. We'll stay with this here for just a little bit more. If we get another scan that shows that it's not as tornadic, we can kind of step away with this. But again, for folks that live in Leon County, again, we're watching this. There's 15 minutes left in this warning. We're not gonna leave you where we're worried that this is a significant storm. You see still a lot of lightning with this, but right now all the rotation with this is showing that it's come down significantly. So that's good. From very, very strong rotation across the Marquay area to areas now north where it's become very broad. So that's a good sign. So give us a couple more scans with this. I know for folks that were interrupting your television, I'm really apologize for that. But again, we don't want to jump away too quick and then have to jump right back in because we're worried we left people without adequate notification of this. This is kind of the area we're watching the scattered thunderstorms, again stretching from Temple to Troy east towards Marlin and then across southern Limestone County and then into Leon County as well. So it's from Highway 7 north up towards Highway 79. That's what runs from the Marquay area to Buffalo and through Jewett. That's kind of the area we're watching for that potential concern right now of tornadic activity. The rest of all this activity, thunderstorms, but nothing that has shown any signs of actual rotation. So that's good news. And some of these back scattered storms are now rolling across air that's already been stabilized, where thunderstorms have already passed through, the atmosphere is going to have been worked over, and that's decreasing that tornadic threat. But we still have the tornado warning in effect for the Leon County area as well. Right now, the biggest concern with this storm is probably quarters to $half size hail and some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds. But again, the velocity with this storm has come down significantly. I'm going to give this one more scan, and then we can figure out if we're going to. Okay. All right, so this is another view. So you can see the people with their flashers on. This is I-45 looking south on down I-45 from Buffalo. So this would be looking right through all this nastiness here. So this is people probably just now starting to hit some of that nasty rain. But this is going to be, that hail core is going to be rolling towards where that camera's sitting there pretty soon, rolling across that part of I-45. But again, we're still watching kind of in this area from Jewett south, from Marquay up to the northeast is where this potential rotation is. But again, the rotation has diminished some. Now we're just going to give it another quick little update or so before we completely leave this storm, because we're still watching a storm producing a lot of lightning, a storm that's had a history of producing some pretty significant rotation. Right now, the area we would be watching where that rotation, again, kind of in that same area. So kind of south of Jewett, kind of right in there between 79 and Highway 7 is where this potential rotation is. So it's just up to the northwest of Centerville right now, just south of Jewett. Again, it has decreased some, but I want to show you again why we're still somewhat concerned with this is as you go, my computer will cooperate, as you go back in time, we had that big flare up there. And as you look, before it got to Marquay, look how it looks there compared to how it looks now. See, so it's in that same setting, and all it took was a couple scans, and that flared up really rapidly. Now, whether the storm can go through another cycle like that, it doesn't look quite as impressive when you look at the overall structure of the storm. But overall, this one's been just a kind of a nasty, rainy one that's hard to be able to see anything with it. As you can see as we go back, it never had that real classic supercell look as it even moved through the Marquette area. So likely, again, a rain-wrapped storm that's produced some high winds and likely produced a tornado in and around the Marquette area as this storm has been working to the east and northeast. A little more of a northeasterly jog, so that's going to be good news for the folks in Centerville. This rotation is going to work likely near just south of the Jewett area, just north of Highway 7, and if it continues on its track, it's going to pass just between Buffalo and Centerville as it works across the I-45 corridor. So we've got around 10 minutes left with this warning. Again, we're going to continue to watch this to see if this rotation can strengthen a little bit, continue to stay vigilant on this because, again, just half hour ago, it did not look all that impressive. And in just a couple scans, it went from a marginal rotation to very violent rotation showing up on radar. It went from what was reported as a wall cloud to several reports coming in of a tornado in and around the Marquette area. So, again, this is approaching I-45. This is the second storm we've had that's going to cross I-45. The other one was more in the Freestone County area. That's a storm that's now up around the Palestine area now. But this one further south in Leon County, so in our southeastern viewing area here at KWTX that we're watching with this storm as it's continuing to move to the east and northeast. But again, this is a heavy rain producing storm, hail producing storm likely as well, but that hail threat's coming down just a little bit. I'm going to do something here just to see how that's changing. So one thing would be interesting to watch. So if the hail core or what's coming down is coming down some, but I wonder if that's going to correlate with the rotation coming back up a little bit. Again, broad rotation right now, still sitting kind of right between Centerville and Jewett. It's right where this area of broad rotation is currently. So you can see that view there of the TechStock camera, definitely getting nasty. You can see how slow traffic's getting as the heavy rain's moving towards Buffalo. I do expect this potential tornadic activity to stay south of Buffalo, but extremely just blinding rain and likely some hail from Buffalo southward to Centerville. So not a area I would want to be driving on the interstate with right now, but again, a significant thunderstorm there. But again, the broad rotation is what we're watching right now with this storm. It definitely doesn't look anywhere as impressive as it did just a few minutes ago as this warning was rolling its way through the Marquette area with that tight rotation from that thunderstorm. But again, this is still a pretty stout thunderstorm that's rolling through. And again, this warning runs for another 10 minutes. Right now it's for that threat of tornadic activity and hail that could be up to around $half size. Most of the latest data we've looked at is more around quarter size. That's right near and around the Highway 79 corridor. So that's going to stay south of Buffalo as well. Buffalo is not under that tornado warning, but just south of there. That's where we're going to have to watch this rotation. That's going to skirt near and just south of Jewett, work its way towards Highway 79, likely stay just north of Centerville. Centerville, I still want you to definitely pay close attention, be ready to move as needed as this storm continues to get closer. But I would probably avoid the Highway 75, the I-45 corridor right there, as this, again, pretty decent hail core is going to work its way through there. And again, a potential rotation that could produce a tornado. So let's look at still got that kind of broad rotation there, but it's not quite as, definitely nothing like what it was when it went through the Marquette area. Still waiting to hear, again, we're less than 10 minutes left with this. Going to wait to see what the National Weather Service, if they're seeing the same things we are. But again, this rotation continuing, maybe trying to pick back up a little bit. We're getting, let me look here on this. Yeah, we're getting another little, indention kind of in here. There's some signs that circulation may be shifting a little bit more towards the east with this. But again, we're getting where this just definitely not the, the pretty prototypical supercell that we can kind of know what it's doing real easy with. This is, again, rain wrapped, very soaking. You can see the traffic there. I mean, pretty much any decent vehicle sizes are running with their hazard lights on just due to the lack of visibility, the heavy rain and storm activity, again, that's running. The view you're seeing there is from Buffalo looking south into this where the storm is getting close to crossing the I-45 corridor. But the bit of good news I can tell you right now is, one, the hail's still probably the biggest threat. That hail's getting close to crossing I-45 as we speak. Some quarter size or larger size hail concern there. Again, you can see a lot of the flashers where folks are driving into that every time I think this thing is, there's still, it's not as intense, and we're getting a little farther away from the radar, but there's still that area there that's trying. You can see where the kind of got a little brighter, and you're going to get some of these blues that show up. That's little pixels where the radar's having a hard time since it's hitting it a little higher, but that's still showing some. We got some strong winds, and trying to show some rotation in there. And I'm going to show you a different product here that will show some of that. So again, you got these brighter reds and greens right in here. Again, that's still showing that there's some tightening here. All right. All right, so they're going to, the National Weather Service says since the rotations come back up some, they're going to extend this warning further into eastern Leon County. So again, this rotation, you can see, getting a little muddled, but again, we're getting, once you kind of see these purples out here, that's when you start getting kind of the very end edge of where the radar can have significant and kind of accurate views of the rotation within this storm. So again, right now we're watching an area that's, I would say, kind of in this area here. I'm going to make it a little bigger than we normally would just with the uncertainty and, again, where we're hitting this. But between Jewett and Centerville, so between Highway 79 and Highway 7, we've still got a decent rotation. It does look like this rotation is strengthening back up some. It's still likely going to be covered in rain. You can see the vehicles there on I-45 that are driving down into this. If you know somebody that needed to travel between Buffalo and Centerville, either way on I-45, I would tell them do not do that right now. This is not going to be safe driving conditions, just one with the very heavy rainfall that's falling. We're probably talking 2-inch or more per hour rain rates that are going on, the potential hail that's mixed in with this, and again, the strengthening rotation that is going on within this storm. Again, the current warning runs for about 5 more minutes. Again, the latest word we had from the National Weather Service is that the warning is going to be extended further into eastern portions of Leon County, and that's still in the KWTX viewing area that we cover here that we're watching. But again, still a storm that's showing kind of that's been that cycling that's been going. Stronger rotation, weaker rotation, back to that stronger rotation at times. Sorry, I get a drink there. All right, so this is the only tornado warning we have right now. We still have the flash flood warnings that are in effect for Falls, Limestone, and Freestone County. Any of this kind of after-style showers, again, nothing severe, but all that's going to do is aggravate any of that flooding concern that we've seen in these areas already. So, again, be very careful if you live in areas that are more flood-prone, roadways that are more flood-prone, around area creeks, rivers, stuff like that could continue to rise as we continue to see runoff. So we've got the original tornado warning that we were watching that worked across Freestone County. That's now near and east of the Palestine area, going off more towards Jacksonville, so out of our area. And then we've got this one that's still down in the Leon County area. Had a very tight rotation as it worked through the Marquez area. They're right along the intersection of Highway 79 and Highway 77. It weakened some, but the latest rotation starting to get a little more. You can see some of these bright greens and reds here. Now there's a lot of, we're getting some interference and some just bad reading from the radar. So again, it's not where we can just pinpoint down the location, but we would say between the Jewett and Centerville areas where the strengthening rotation is. And you can see how nasty the view is. You can see the lightning flashing the screen there, cars having to use their hazards. This is where a storm spotter's trying to look into. So this is where the radar, we're probably not getting any ground truth, but we're getting radar indications that the rotation is strengthening some, and this is just a different way to look at it, and it's still kind of right in this area here. We're not getting quite the signature reds and greens right next to each other, but still some kind of flare up on their velocity that definitely showing that the intentions are that the storm is trying its best to re-strengthen. And what it's probably doing is latching. You get this one little hole right here where you got rain-cooled air out in front of it, rain-cooled air behind it, but if it can latch onto some of this warmer, muggier air that can feed up inside this thunderstorm, that can keep this thunderstorm active, increase its rotation and strength, and keep it lasting longer. All right, so the new warning just came out. It's going to run until 6. So as of right now, storm capable of producing a tornado located near Centerville, moving northeast at 30. Quarter-size hail tornado are the main threats with this storm. It's going to be crossing I-45 between mile markers 167 and 180 is what the National Weather Service put. That's a helpful deal because we don't have the ability to see the exit numbers there. But again, it's moving very close to just to the north of the Centerville area right now, likely to cross I-45, this area of very strong or strengthening rotation. And again, it's still kind of on the broad side, but again, keep in mind we're hitting the storm a lot higher, so we may not have real great ground truth. But this is showing with these reds and greens that we're getting winds that are pushing in different directions. We're getting that counterclockwise cyclonic rotation inside the storm that, again, is working its way towards I-45 as we speak, and then it'll gradually shift. Looks like it's going to move just north of Centerville. So at least for big town purposes, this is going to work well, that it misses between Centerville and Buffalo, but still a highly traveled roadway, an interstate, never a good sign when a storm like this with this kind of rotation passes over an interstate like this. But again, it's moving to the east, northeast across Leon County. So let's go back out wide here just to kind of recap for people that may just be tuning in here. All right, so let's go back out, zoom this out and show you. Again, Waco, perfectly quiet. Most of I-35 westward, all of our western counties, not a problem in the world. We've got scattered more just run-of-the-mill thunderstorms that have been going on, and not even thunderstorm activity in Bell County. Right now, no lightning being reported, so that's good news. But as we move east into areas that are under a tornado watch and tornado warning, we're still watching particularly Leon County, now getting close to I-45. And for the eastern parts of I-45, as we get closer to the Trinity River and the eastern portions of Leon County is the area we're watching right now. And again, for folks that are watching, this is not impacting all of Central Texas. I know that, and I know we're on your TV and we're interrupting your show. It has nothing to do with you. I really am sorry about it, but that's our job. We're supposed to inform people. There's some people that TV may be the only way that they can get accurate, safe information to keep them safe with a storm that has the potential and has the history of producing a tornado. So we're going to do this every time. When there's life possibly at risk and people's in trouble, we're going to be here. Yeah, we're going to have to interrupt some shows, and I really apologize for that. But again, this tornado warning, again, has been extended. It now is going to push closer to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. This is going to get to the point where it's going to be out of our area as it gets closer to that. But again, we're still watching these greens and reds here. It's not as easily organized. Again, we're hitting a little bit higher in the cloud. Each and every scan, it's moving further and further away. The radar that we're looking at is all the way in Williamson County near Granger, so close to I-35. So we're hitting the storm way up in the sky. So we're getting the kind of the what we call the mesocyclone, what's circulating and causing all this, the spinning in the cloud. But we're not able to see down to the ground. And you can see with the traffic cam there, that's in Buffalo. So that's right in the midst of all this heavy rain. Well, you go just south of Buffalo, that's where this rotation is right now. So anybody trying to see anything is not going to be able to see it. We've got blinding rain, we got potential hail, we got high winds, just kind of a nasty setup that's going on into there. So again, we've got the warning right now that runs all the way to the eastern portions of Leon County. So this would be more rural areas. So we're going to be talking about some of the communities. Oakwood is on the northern side, Flo, Hopewell, again, near and north. It's going to be run, again, kind of these are the two highways we've been talking about. So here's Highway 7, here's Highway 79 that goes from Buffalo up to the Palestine area. Kind of in between these two is where this rotation is likely to move, crossing I-45, and again, Highway 75 that runs there nearly parallel to I-45. That's where the rotation is going to pass. It does look like this rotation is going to stay north of Centerville, and Centerville, you really missed out on most of the rain. Buffalo, it's going to skirt near or just south of the Buffalo area. So again, if you live in Centerville, Buffalo, we still want you to take their correct precautions. You know, we want you to be weather aware because little fluctuations with this. And earlier, it was moving more due east. Now this is more shifting northeast, and that could be somewhat of the just a little bit of the lack of consistency with the rotation within this storm. So, yeah, we again, we're watching this area of rotation that's continuing to move through. Let's go back to the. Yeah, so it's really close now to crossing I-45. I'm going to switch between a few different. Yeah, we're getting to kind of just the radar no man's land here. Unfortunately, there's a few areas in our viewing area that get a long ways away from radar, but we're still getting some inflow into this thunderstorm. We're still getting kind of the area where that rotation could be ongoing. Again, we still also have a decent hail core with this. Let's look at the latest hail core. Still nothing crazy. It's probably nickel to quarter size. We did get a report in Jewett. So they just had some pea-sized hail where that was. So let's go over the last, take you back over the last little bit and show it did flare up just south of Jewett. So we're kind of more that rural area there from where it went from Marquay, flared back up. Now it's collapsing back a little bit. So still, again, mainly the rotation is what we're watching right now. Very heavy rainfall. Okay, so yeah, this is, okay, so the Weather Service is watching, kind of seeing what I was seeing there where we got, oh, all right, so this is an interesting one here. So let me go back to the reflectivity and kind of see where this, okay, so we've got two areas of rotation. We've got a little secondary area that's developing right here. So this is interesting here. So this, we're getting some new development here and then the broad development here. So what, and why that could be happening, interesting with that is, so you see where this is right here. You see there's absolutely no thunderstorm activity south of it. Well, this warm, muggy air is feeding up into this. So the storm may have shifted the rotation near and east of Centerville. We'll have to wait another scan on it. We've kind of got two areas we're watching with this, but that main part of the thunderstorm may have lost, hadn't had too much rain, too much hail in it, but the circulation may be moving down and trying to develop a new supercell storm sitting here just east of the Centerville area. So that was what the National Weather Service passed along. And again, they've got people sitting there looking at the radar just like we are. But yeah, you can actually see kind of the strongest rotation right there just to the east of Centerville. So you got the community of Centerview, Guy's Store. So there's FM 1119. FM 811 here, and here's Highway 7. So this one's spurred up real quickly. So let me just show you just the last couple scans. You can see, and this came up from the southeast. So this is an area we need to be concerned about moving up to the northeast. So areas around Hopewell, again, this is going to be east of the Centerville area. So we've got multiple areas of rotation. We've got that one there, and then we've got this other that's kind of crossing I-45 right now that's more kind of in the core of the storm. You kind of see this area where there's not anything showing up. That's that area where there's kind of rain-free right there. So we've got moisture, kind of untapped air that's trying to make it up into that part of the thunderstorm, and an area that's more favorable now is spinning up some rapid rotation there just to the east and southeast of Centerville. So we've got kind of two areas we're watching. This one definitely screams out at you, but then this is the area kind of in here that earlier was the one that was spinning like crazy off towards the Marquay area. So two areas of rotation ongoing with this. So one east of Centerville, one north of Centerville. Both are now crossing and east of the I-45 corridor. But again, those are kind of two areas we're watching. So this one, you can kind of see a little bit of a notch right here that developed. I want to take you back and watch the last little bit of this to see how this one evolved, because yeah, so it actually started out as its own individual thunderstorm down around the Leona area, and as it came in contact with this other thunderstorm, started to help the rotation inside of it. So you can nearly kind of cut this one out as its own little supercell that's trying to form here, probably getting a hail core right there near the Hopewell area as well. Let's see if the radar estimating that. Yeah, so actually this little cell here is stronger now than this one. So you got the hail core, you can get into the quarter size or so hail. Sometimes Mother Nature throws you little curveballs on it. So right now, we're going to watch both these areas. So officially right now, this rotation is not inside this current warning, but this is going to roll into the warning area. So the National Weather Service likely not to put out a new warning for this because it's going to cross into areas that are currently under the warning due to this other area of rotation that we're watching here. So two areas, it was originally two different cells that are kind of merging together. And what happened is this cell probably ran up into that area, a stalled boundary that's sitting across our southeastern counties, and when it hit that, that's what spun that up real quickly with this storm. So again, I'm going to look at one other product that's not going to show us anything most likely. And then, so again, we're really, yeah, so this area here just south of Highway 7. This is going to cross Highway 7 just to the east of Centerville. Again, the community of Hopewell there. Again, this area right here, it's real broad, likely not producing a tornado right now, but still some decent rotation that's crossing I-45. This is going to move into the more rural areas of Leon County, so south and east of Buffalo. Another pretty stout rotation there just to the east and southeast of Centerville. And that's going to cross Highway 7, if not now, very close to now is where it's going to be rolling into that that area. So let's take you a little closer and kind of show you. So again, we're talking, again, a few miles. Let's see how far this is. So from middle of Centerville, we're talking 4 or 5 miles, something like that. So again, it's right on top of County Road 411, County Road, FM 811, a couple of those roads. And again, Highway 7 is the one that runs east out of Centerville. And again, we're talking the Centerview community. It's likely to move just north of there towards Highway 7. So this is a quickly developing rotation that is occurred with this storm. Really strengthened just in the last couple of radar scans that this storm has come into a very favorable environment that's allowed this to rapidly intensify and rapidly increase the velocity and speeds inside this storm as it's started to develop. So again, right now, broad rotation along and north of Centerville, more intense rotation along and east of the Centerville area as this storm is approaching the Highway 7 area. So that's the kind of the two areas we're watching with that. Very quick spin up here, and then look at I-45 there in the Buffalo area. Look how traffic nearly not moving at all with that. So let me go back to again, that's looking a little north, but that's, yeah, so they're right in this area where this core is really moving through here. That rotation's probably, and that's one thing to keep in mind, even if there's not a tornado, enhanced rotation inside of a storm can enhance very heavy rainfall. It can enhance the hail potential inside of it. And you can see there, traffic barely not moving. I would not want to be heading south into this particular area. It's going to be a nasty storm rolling through there between Buffalo and Centerville. But again, the other area we're watching, we see that notch here, hail core sitting just along Highway 7, 5 to 7 miles northeast of Centerville, and a decent rotation that has developed. And again, we're unlikely to probably get any eyeballs on that because everybody was focusing on this one, and then this storm slid in and has really taken over some of the better moisture with it. So again, the new warning that we've got runs until 6 o'clock. It probably will be out of our area close to then, and then it'll be moving more towards parts of Houston County. So that's north of Crockett off towards the Grapeland area. We're only 6 minutes from when our typical Sunday 5:30 show starts. So we'll continue to watch this activity and continue to keep you posted on it. But again, I-35 eastward is kind of what we're watching, and it's really now I-45 where this tornadic threat is. The flash flood potential holds on for Limestone, Freestone, and Falls County. I want to show you some of these rainfall amounts as we're waiting for the next scan. This is 6-hour rainfall totals that are pretty impressive to say the least. There's parts of Bell County, you're talking 4 to nearly 5 inches in several, probably a widespread 3 to 5 inch isolated heavy totals, and that's right in that kind of flash flood area there that runs all the way. Earlier, a flash flood warning was in effect for Bell County, but you can see that path that all this activity took. What happened was we had storms this morning. I'm watching that camera down there, and that is no fun. I definitely wouldn't want to be in an RV driving down that. You're talking, now you're getting the high winds starting to pick up. You can see if you watch, you can kind of see it moving right across the screen there. So it's very strong winds. All right, so we had a boundary move through. That's what helped to produce those showers and storms, that line that moved through. Well, they fell apart right across our southeastern counties, and that usually leaves, it's hard to see, a little boundary, and that boundary helps to enhance the heavy rain potential and the rotation that's going on as well. All right, so we're getting, got a new report come in. Let me get back to, so we're getting a report, parallel highway, yeah, so that's that. So right along Highway 7, we're getting a report from Volunteer Fire Department of a pretty significant rotation. I believe it's this one here that they're talking about. We're getting some of these small communities I have never been to. I've been pretty much all of Central Texas, but get some of these outlying ones, it gets a little, so yeah, it's right here. Now it's not looking quite as impressive as it did a scan before, but you can see now it's pretty much crossing Highway 7 right now. So seeing strong rotation with this storm. Again, nothing that's officially touching the ground, but we are getting, and again, it's probably very hard to see right now. Appreciate the Volunteer Fire Department there that's helping us see this. But again, that's it crossing right over Highway 7 right now. So the rotation is right in here. You're getting kind of that notch that's developing. That's showing signs of a stronger updraft, a decent hail core that's sitting here as well. So folks in the Hopewell area, anywhere in here. So if you're in the middle of this hail core, don't think, oh, the hail's done, I'm okay. This is going to go from hail core to quiet to potential tornado that could be ongoing with that system there. And again, we're still watching the rotation that it's still not, there's still some, but it looks like it's crossing I-45. That honestly was probably right when everything got nasty right there. And we saw that, really slowed the traffic down. You can see it kind of corresponded when this is enhanced winds, even if it's not a tornadic wind. We had very strong winds that were blowing across there. Let me see what the radar was indicating. I mean, it was showing at least 50 mile per hour winds blowing across I-45 when that traffic cam made it really hard to see. So I was saying anywhere from 40 to nearly 60 mile per hour winds. So again, even if a tornado wasn't on the ground, we're seeing significant winds. We're seeing significant thunderstorm activity. This activity, this part of the storm, the northern part here is becoming more straight line. Again, we're now getting a little more worried about this, and you can see the moisture trying to wrap into this one a little bit more. Show you why I'm saying that. Kind of see where that little notch here getting a little thicker. So, but again, this is continuing to show kind of that supercell style look to it. And again, this rotation is likely crossing right near Highway 7 is what the Volunteer Fire Department was saying there along Highway. And again, we're still getting the rotation there, those greens and reds right in this area that's crossing. It's not screaming quite as loud as it was just a few minutes ago, but still a decent storm. And also the hail core inside this storm still producing some up to around quarter-size hail with this thunderstorm as well. So still a significant storm that's working across there. The rotation not as good, so that's good news. We want to root for that. Elsewhere, we're watching other thunderstorms that are, again, nothing that's showing. I'm going to look at these ones here in Leon County. That way something doesn't sneak up on us again. But no other rotation that's really strong. Again, the areas we're watching is this area right here near the Hopewell area that's crossing Highway 7. This area up near Buffalo and eastwards becoming a little more just outflow dominant. There's still some maybe broad rotation with this, but it's becoming more of a you can kind of see where you got where this little notch is right here. So there's trying to be some rotation in there, but mainly getting slammed with very strong winds. Then you've got this other area of inflow that's coming into this storm here that's along Highway 7. So this would be pretty much, because you got a very thin sliver that this other part of the storm is being able to pull in moisture. This little lead cell here is probably starving this one with all the ground moisture that it needs to help produce a tornado. So again, this one here is where we're more concerned with an area near and just north of Highway 7. But again, this one's shifting its way north and east and gradually going to be working its way out of central Texas. So 5:30 on the clock, folks that may be tuning in for our Sunday afternoon newscast. We are covering it up at least here for a little bit with severe weather coverage that we're watching a storm. The traffic cam you see there is in the Buffalo area. A pretty good wave of thunderstorm activity working across I-45. We've had several storms that have had reported tornadic activity in them. We started a while back, nearly a couple hours now, of storms that have been started across areas across Milam and Falls County, and then have been working to the east across the southeastern parts of central Texas. Add on top of that the good line of storms that worked through early this morning. We did have a tornado warning earlier this morning across the Falls County area, but that one we don't think produced a tornado. But right now we're watching one storm that still has a kind of a cluster of storms that has tornado warnings. So the main area that we're watching is this area here that is the main rotation that we're watching. Near the Eunice area there in the Falls County area. So again, right near Hopewell is kind of what we're watching with this. That's kind of, again, starved a lot of the rotation that the other part of this storm had. So kind of show you the velocity with it inside as well. So again, it's just right in here. So I think this is kind of the area that we've got to watch the most. And this is, again, moving in the far easternmost portions of Leon County. So we're getting into some rural areas here where this activity is going to work its way out of central Texas probably here within the next 15-20 minutes. But this is where the strongest rotation is as of now with this storm. So Again, an activity that we're watching, again, just this one storm, again, that's going on right now. Wide view, again, to kind of give you a recap of the areas that have been under concern this afternoon and into the now starting to get the early evening hours. The tornado watch continues for areas east of I-35. It officially runs until 9, but this watch is a huge area. It goes all the way into East Texas, may even go into parts of Louisiana as well. So as the evening goes on, this threat will continue to move through. This will be one of those, once this wave's done, we're likely done, and actually we'll get a couple of days of reprieve to kind of have some quiet weather across central Texas before more scattered storms start to work their way back into our area. So again, right now watching activity that's near and east of I-45. We still have the one tornado warning that is in effect that runs officially till 6. It's kind of shifted. It was originally this little complex of thunderstorm activity, but a new thunderstorm has kind of rode up into this activity. A new supercell storm is formed, and that shifted the main rotation now east of where that original kind of parent rotation was with this thunderstorm, and has shifted the kind of the rotational concerns now a little farther east. So we're talking east of FM 511, kind of west of FM 542. So this is getting in the rural areas of Leon County. You can see unfortunately, the I-45 there nearly completely stopped with folks heading southbound. So that's heading into kind of the teeth of this thunderstorm that is working its way across Leon County as well. So again, we're gonna hold on with this. We want to stay here as long as we've got the tornadic concern and threat for parts of central Texas, and that threat's still holding on for the far southeastern parts of our viewing area, again across Leon County. So Centerville, the threat is out of your area. We're not worried about tornadic activity now in Centerville. Buffalo kind of the same way, Jewett the same way. It's really here just in this kind of just north of Highway 7. There's the new update from the Weather Service. So again, they trimmed out all the I-45 corridor. So now we're just in the far eastern parts of our area. And guys in the control room will probably stay on this for another 5 minutes or so, and then this is going to be out of our area. I don't know how y'all want to tackle the newscast, but again, this is going to be sliding its way east out of our area here in the next probably 10 to 15 minutes at most. All right, so nothing new from the National Weather Service. Again, let's take you back into the velocity with this and show you still some significant shear with this storm and some rotation with this storm. Again, here's the community of Hopewell, FM 1511. Here's FM 811 that rolls, or here's Highway 7 here, and here's FM 542. So that's kind of the area we're watching right now. And then you get over here, here's the Trinity River. So here's the eastern edge of Leon County, and then this storm will be moving more into Houston County as it continues to move out of central Texas, and eventually Grapeland, Crockett, areas like that will continue to be of concern. But for us here at News 10, once it gets out of Leon County, we kind of shifted off and let the East Texas television stations handle the keeping everyone safe with that. But again, we still got this notch right here that's still holding on. Again, pretty steady rotation, a decent hail core, even bigger hail core likely. That likely was what slowed down a lot of the I-45 traffic that we saw there, is people probably driving into a hailstorm there that rolled right across I-45. The current estimate on hail, yeah, you can see that was what we saw the traffic stop, and maybe still folks driving 60, 70 miles an hour down the interstate into hail is not a lot of fun. And this is pretty widespread golf ball size, or a quarter size to $half size hail that's worked its way across the interstate. And again, now continue to move east. So this part of the storm is more of a hail concern. This part of the storm right here that's east of the Hopewell area, just north of Highway 7, that's more of the tornadic concern. And again, you can see traffic pretty much at a standstill. That's looking from Buffalo heading south. So that's actually the worst has moved through, but still the impacts being felt of that hail and winds that worked its way through. So again, we've got a tornado warning that continues for the northeastern parts of Leon County. Just again, none of the main cities in Leon County are under this. So we're talking east and northeast of Centerville, east of Buffalo, Leona, that's way out of your area. Again, no major cities in this, and we're, again, within a scan or two of this being out of our area and becoming more eventually a Houston County storm as this system works its way out of central Texas, eventually towards the Crockett area. More scattered thunderstorms. We have some down in the College Station area, more scattered activity stretching across parts of Freestone, Limestone, and Falls County. flash flood warning in effect for this activity. Any more rain that falls in these areas going to continue to aggravate the flooding concerns that could be ongoing in these areas. But again, the tornadic threat is shifting gradually out of our area, but we still have some of our easternmost, kind of the last little part of our viewing area there, that this rotation is still ongoing right now. So give you the latest view, and still this is starting to get on the edge of our radar data, but you can still see the reds and the greens here. Still pretty healthy rotation with this activity, but again, it is working its way now out of the News 10 viewing area, working its way into East Texas viewing area. So again, good news with that is it's working its way out and moving out of our area. Are we able to go to the regular news now, guys, or what do y'all want to do on y'all's end? Okay, well, let's toss it over to Jasmine and see what's going on news-wise. Again, we'll be here to continue to keep you updated. But again, that tornado threat is working its way out of our area, and will continue to do so.
This is KWTX News 10.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us, Central Texas. I'm Jasmine Lotz. Heavy rain today led to flooding concerns in parts of Central Texas. We'll get into that and more in a minute, but first, let's start tonight with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brady Taylor. And Brady, you have been busy in the Weather Center all day tracking these storms. So how are things looking? Yeah, Jasmine, for a few hours now, I've been tracking all this activity. But again, for what the big story we've been watching here for a while is this tornadic activity that's been moving across the southeastern parts of Central Texas, and we still have a tornado warning that's in Leon County. The good news is all this activity is going to be working out of our area, but I do want to remind you that a tornado watch is in effect for the eastern parts of Central Texas. I would guess here soon, Limestone Falls, Milam, Robertson, and probably Navarro County will be trimmed off of this, because as the evening goes on, that threat will be shifting out. But we'll talk about what the rest of your work week looks like coming up here in just a few minutes. All right, thank you, Brady. This is the scene in Groesbeck where some major flooding blocking off this roadway. This is on Yegua Street at the State Highway 164 underpass, and that's near Pizza Hut on Dr. J.B. Ricks Drive. We are seeing a tow truck on one side and flashing lights on the other, working to keep people away from the area. And from those high waters in Groesbeck, these photos are from the Limestone County deputies helping a stranded motorist out of flooding water. This photo was taken by Lisa Kelly, who witnessed the rescue take place.